X marks the spot. That's where my head's supposed to go. Anyway. That's good. Anyway, guys, girls, anybody who's watching, happy Valentine's Day. And I'm just going to make this little video to show you about how I went about making these little wooden Valentine's Day rings. So go ahead and watch it, and I hope you enjoy. There you go. Here I'm using the block plane skewed about 45 degrees just so I can get a nice curl shaving. The shaving is what I'll use to wrap around a dowel to make the ring. There's a nice one right there. Here's the dowel. Gonna wrap it with some painter's tape so that when I wrap the shaving around it and glue it together with some super glue or CA glue, it doesn't stick to the dowel. Thin CA glue. Here I'm just getting the shaving started around the dowel, and I'm just trying to wrap it as tight as I can without breaking the piece of wood. Here I'm just tightening it up to make sure that I get as much of the gaps out as I can. And there's the end of it, and I'll put a little bit of CA glue on there and hold it down just to hold the wrap together. Now I'm just moving the wrap up to the end so that it'll be a little bit easier to try to slide off of there after I apply the CA glue around the edges. I'm going to apply it to both sides so that it soaks in and glues all of the wrap of the shaving together. Now I just let that cure for about 5-10 minutes, and then I'll use this block of wood and just work it gently around the edge, pushing it out, trying to get it to come off the end. There might be a better way to do this, but this is what I came up with on the fly since this was last minute and I had just a little bit of time to go out to the shop. The tape will be easy to remove with a file and then later on some sandpaper. It's not really a big deal. I was thinking about maybe possibly turning the tape sticky side out and then wrapping the wood around that, and then the non-sticky side would be against the dowel, and maybe that would come off a little bit easier. Now I'm just going to true up the edges, get them nice and flat. Here I've sanded both sides. One thing that you may want to pay a little bit closer attention, pay a bit closer attention to is how thick it is. If it's a consistent thickness all the way, or width all the way around,
Man, that thing is hard to hold on to. Now I have a dowel with a slot cut into the end, and just inserting some sandpaper. I'm going to use that to sand the inside of the ring. And away we go.
Leave it there, buddy. Thank you, sir.
Now I'm just trying to fit the ring on the end of this dowel so that I can sand the outside. It's just a friction fit. At the end of this video, you'll see a picture of a walnut ring that I made at the same time that I made this one. I actually ended up mounting that one on a little mandrel in the lathe and sanded it and finished it. It was much easier than trying to do it with the dowel and the handheld drill. That way I could have both hands and I could get it to run a little bit truer than it was running on my handheld drill here. So that's a much easier way. Right now I realize that the thickness of the band was inconsistent, so now I'm just working the edge and trying to get it a consistent thickness or width all the way around. Now I'm just going to remount it here and do a little bit more sanding. On this particular piece I wiped a super glue or a cyanoacrylate finish on after the ring was done. I did not do that one on the drill or the lathe, but the walnut I did apply the CA finish on the lathe. Well, I hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching, and go out and try it. It's actually pretty easy. I think from start to finish it took me about half an hour to do this project.